In the rural heart of South Carolina, historians and linguists made an unexpected and astonishing discovery. While studying plantation records and local oral histories, they encountered several enslaved families who spoke perfect, fluent French. Their accents, sentence structure, and vocabulary closely resembled classical European French rather than Creole or broken dialects. What stunned researchers most was the fact that none of these individuals had ever left the plantation. They had no formal education, no contact with French-speaking visitors, and no exposure to books or schools. Yet their command of the language was so precise that native French speakers were left speechless. In South Carolina, researchers found enslaved families speaking perfect French despite never leaving the plantation. Their fluency stunned experts who expected only broken dialects. Further investigation revealed that the French language had been preserved through generational oral transmission. Grandparents taught parents, and parents taught children, entirely through spoken communication. Bedtime stories, whispered conversations, songs, and private family discussions became classrooms. There were no written texts, no dictionaries, only memory and repetition. Over decades, the families protected the language with great care, correcting pronunciation and grammar to keep it intact. This preservation demonstrated not only intelligence, but also discipline, pride, and a deep respect for ancestry. The French language was preserved entirely through oral tradition. Parents and grandparents taught it at home, keeping pronunciation and grammar intact across generations. Historians believe the origins of the French language within these families trace back to the early colonial era. Some plantations in South Carolina were once owned or managed by French settlers, traders, or refugees, particularly during the 18th century. Enslaved Africans may have learned French directly from these individuals, absorbing the language during labor, household service, or forced interaction. When ownership of the plantation later changed hands, the French influence disappeared from records, but not from the people themselves. The language survived quietly, even as its origins were forgotten by official history. The family's French likely came from early French settlers or overseers. Even after generations and changing ownership, the language quietly survived. Life on the plantation was marked by brutality, surveillance, and control. Education was forbidden, and speaking unfamiliar languages could invite punishment. As a result, the families used French only in private, trusted spaces, inside cabins, during late-night conversations, or among close relatives. The language became a hidden refuge, a way to express thoughts and emotions without being understood by overseers. In this way, French served as both a shield and a bond, strengthening community ties and allowing a sense of humanity to survive under constant oppression. Language became a private refuge. Spoken in secret, it strengthened family bonds and allowed expression beyond the reach of overseers. This discovery forces historians to rethink long-standing assumptions about enslaved people in the American South. It proves that culture, language, and intellectual traditions were not completely erased by slavery. Instead, they adopted, survived, and endured in secret. The existence of fluent French-speaking slave families reveals a deeper, more complex history, one that highlights resilience, memory, and resistance. It also raises important questions about how many other hidden stories remain undiscovered, waiting to challenge the version of history we think we know. This discovery challenges assumptions about enslaved communities, showing that culture, language, and identity endured even under oppression.